Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Just Daf It. Daf Yomi Shir. We're learning Kesubos, Daf Lamed Gimel. Today's Daf 33. Thank God, caught up. Start from the bottom. Lamed Beis and Beis. So we had two sheetas. We had Ula and Rabbi Yochanan. We're discussing which one do you get if you have Malchus and Mammon, right? Which one do you get normally under normal circumstances? Edom Zomim and Chovel B'Chavero are exceptions to the rule. There you only pay money. You don't get Malchus. But what if you have something which normally you're Chayiv Misa and Malchus? Yochanan says you get Malchus, Kedei Rishaso, and it says Arboim Yakenu. So therefore, Kedei Rishaso, which one is worse? Arboim Yakenu, Malchus is the worst. Seemingly a svar of Kimle B'Derab, right? You get the worst out of the two punishments. Ulo says Xera Shava, Tachas. We learn from Tachas. Anytime you're Chayiv, just like by Tachas Esra'ina, when it's talking about a Nara paying the Knas, also by Ayin Tachas Ayin, right there, you pay money. We learn from Chol V'Chaver, money, you pay money. So Tachas, anytime you have both Malchus and Mammon, you pay money, not the Malchus. We talked about maybe how could it be that money is more severe than lashes. I think there is an answer today. The Gemara only asks, we'll see, why Rabbi Yochanan didn't say like Ula, because seemingly Ula is a stronger proof. Ula has Xera Shav. Xera Shav is a pretty strong proof. Rabbi Yochanan is not such a strong proof. So the Gemara asked Rabbi Yochanan, my time lo amar Ula. Why didn't he say like Ula? Xera Shava. Presumably it's Xera Shava. Everyone heard of the Xera Shava. So the Gemara's name came Batalta Eres Acholos Chalos Segala. If so, right? If you say like Ula, so then there's a pasuk Eres Acholos Chalos Segala. You're not supposed to have relations with your sister, right? And he says, right, when you have Nara, your sister is a Nara, and you're raper, you're Chayiv Knas, like it says in our Mishnah. So then there's no, why did the Torah warn you against it? So when it warns you, obviously you have to be Chayiv lashes for it if you do it. So obviously it can be like Ula, that you pay money and not Malchus, right? Like our Mishnah, you get a Knas. So obviously, you get the Malchus in that case. The Gemara says, Chol v'chaver nami, the Gemara asks, Alam and Gimel and Aleph on top, Chol v'chaver nami, name came about Talta, Yosef, paying Yosef. The Gemara asks, according to Rabbi Yochanan, so what are you going to say? It says, it warns people about hitting people. Yosef, paying Yosef. You shouldn't add on Malchus. When they give 39 lashes, you shouldn't give more. It's a warning in the Torah to anyone. You shouldn't hit somebody. When you hit somebody, you violate a law in the Torah. We know the halacha is you pay money in that case. Like Rabbi Lai said, the Torah is marab, and the Torah says you pay money in that case. What do you do with that? There's a law in the Torah that you're not supposed to hit a rasha, and the Gemara learns in Maseches Makos and Bein. That's talking about Edom Zomim. No, the law of Edom Zomim, even though in a case of where you try to bechayev the person mammon, you say this person lent $200 from this person, so in that case you're trying to mechayev the mammon. So in that case, yes, you pay money, like Rabbi Lai said. However, you could have Malchus if they try to testify someone's a ben grusha and chalutza. Meaning you say in court, this person, he is the product of a Kohen marrying a grusha. Let's say Kohen married a grusha, and he is the child of that, and making him a chalal. You're trying to make him a chalal. You find out these Eidim are testifying falsely at the time of their testimony. They're testifying, we saw the Kohen marry the grusha, we saw the Kohen be together with the grusha. They weren't there, they weren't present. Other Eidim testified they weren't with them. They weren't at that moment when they got married. So in that case, the Gemara Makos says, and Daf Beis, the first Gemara Makos, famous Gemara. If you know Makos, you know this Gemara. Some people, they start learning Gemara Makos and Daf Beis. That's about as far as they get. So even if you're one of those people that learn Gemara really slow, I saw they have this program in Mishpacha magazine. It's called Learn Like you're in Yeshiva. They're making a grand siyum in September 15th. Save the date. They're making a siyum on Maseches Yevamos. They've been learning the Masechta, I don't know, for like 4 years. I don't know how long they learned for. It took them 17 years to get through Seder Moed. 17 years, but it's okay because you learn, what is it, a daf a week? I think you learn a daf a week. So that's basically the program. You feel like you're in yeshiva, you're 50s, 60s, you're still in yeshiva. Like Aaron Lapiansky has a book, Talmud, Ben Torah for life. You're Ben Torah for life. You don't leave the confines of your yeshiva. You're still learning a daf a week. That's faster than most yeshiva. Learning a daf a week. And you'll finish Shas one time in your life, and you'll remember all of Shas. You'll know it be'iyah. No! You learn daf yomi with me. We do a daf a day. We learn it be'iyah. We do it good. We do a good job. And you get much more time to do everything else in your life. And you can make siyum every couple of months, not every couple of years. I don't know. They have like this middle-aged guy. It's like, who are they gonna put on this advertisement? They have close to 10,000 people part of this program. Who are they gonna put? They put this guy. He looks like half businessman, half yeshivish guy. You know, he's like 45, 50 years old. He's like balding a little bit. You know, he's got his hand on his head, you know, like he's thinking about the sugya. But he looks balabatish enough to be working, and he looks yeshivish enough to be someone who gives importance to the value of still being yeshiva if it was possible. So they picked the perfect guy, it looks like. I don't even know if that guy actually is part of the program. Just they got a picture with him as a model. I don't know. I'm joking. Listen, if that's something that makes you happy and it makes you feel, I personally don't believe to learn so slow. I mean, you're lessening your value. You can learn faster, even if you have no experience. You can join me. We'll do it quick. We'll do it to the point, and we'll do it intense. Ian, we have an amazing shir today where we're going to actually branch out into the Ian shir to talk about abortion from the Torah perspective. The Torah addresses it directly. The Torah addresses it directly in a pasuk. And the Gemara addresses it directly over here, whether there's any isser at all by abortion at all. You can be shocked to hear. And this is la halacha. It seems to me the Gemara is saying. So you don't want to miss even and see. I'm going to address probably the most important issue of the day. Listen, this is not a political view. This is not what the United States should do. But this is what the Torah says. So if you want to know what the Torah's perspective is and not Ben Shapiro's perspective, listen to the shir. Listen, just because Ben Shapiro says something doesn't mean he's quoting from the Torah. He has his own ideas, and actually the Torah's view is diametrically opposed to Ben Shapiro. So we'll see that soon. So the Gemara says, right, in that case, it says Malchus. You get Malchus in that case. You get Malchus, you don't actually become, even if you're a Kohen, the Edom Zom or Kohanim, they don't become Chalolim. They get Malchus in that case. Again, if you hit someone, like I mentioned on the last daf, something, a nezek, you caught a scrape or something like that, it's not even worth a band-aid or a CVS band-aid, so it's not even worth a Shabbat Pruta, so therefore you get Malchus, because in that case, Achosa, the Gemara asks, Achosa Nami, Ika L'kiyuma, B'Achosa Bogeres, right? So Rabbi Yochanan, you still have a problem over here. What do you mean? You said you'll never find a Torah time you get Malchus for being with your sister. You will. If she's a Bulgaris, if she's a Nara, you're chayiv the knas. If she's a Bulgaris, there's no knas. You're chayiv Bulgaris. What are you saying, Rabbi Yochanan? So I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan has a different reason. Like, he can't use tachas for the Shava. He needs it for Abai. He's teaching. Amar Abai, Amar Kra, tachas sharina, high tachas sharina, high tachas sharina. We call the ika boshes upagam, right? You pay the knas, 50 silver coins, because of what you did to her. You caused her pain by raping her, right? For the raping is a knas, right? Saying 50, you might think the Gemara has a Havamina later on in the parak that maybe the 50 silver coins is for everything. We know when you cause pain to somebody, when you're mazik somebody, you pay boshes for embarrassing, humiliating them, pagam, devaluing them, all these things, nezek, sar, cause them pain. You might think that all of them are included in the 50 kesef. No, 50 kesef is just because of you raped her, but you still have to pay the other things also. But ula nafkale, how does he know this teaching? Chamishim kesef hanas shchiva chamishim. Michlal the ikaboshes pagam. You pay. The pasuk says hashochevim. Why does it add the word hashochevim? Why do you sleep with the hanas shchiva, the hana that you get for being with her? That makes you responsible for 50 silver coins. But the boshes of pagam, which also are byproducts of your relationship, also you have to pay. Also, Lezer Omer enim zomim mamon mishal mikol alaki mishum lavin hasronino. Lezer says a different source that enim zomim pay money. And don't get Malchus. How do you know that? We had some other sources before that seem to indicate that Edom Zomim pay money because it says what does it say? Nitan Davar Nitan Miyad Yad Liyad or something like that. The Gemara says the bottom line based on base. There's a different proof. He says they get money because they pay money. Mishum the Lav Hasran. You can't warn them. So it's not shaykh for them to get Malchus. You have to warn someone before they get Malchus. I'm a Teda. Rabbi says it's true. Nisri b'hu emas. When are you give them a warning? Nisri b'hu mikar. If you give them a warning before they testify, Amri shtalion, you warn them like an hour before they testify. So when they testify, they said, we forgot your warning, so it's not a good warning. Nisri b'hu shas ma'isa. You give them a warning right before they testify. Parshiv lamisadi. Right? These are aiding. These people are not, important in this case over here. Right? If you tell them, you warn them and say you're going to get punished with Adam Zomim before they testify, they're going to get afraid. They're not going to testify. It'll never happen. This rule of Sof, if you give them warning after they already testify, whatever happened. Maskul Abaye, you can't give a warning afterwards. Maskul Abaye is not a valid warning. Maskul Abaye, in this rule, we Tokadei Dibor. Let them give testimony. And Tokadei Dibor, where they can still retract what they say. Tokadei Dibor, 3 seconds after you say something, you can retract it. So warn them within those 3 seconds. And if they want it, in that case, they're more likely not to retract what they said because they already said it. So that will be a good way of finding when you have Asra. Or you can warn them originally, like an hour before, and then right when they're testifying, you could make signs, make gestures to show that you're the warning. Remember the warning. You point to your watch, right? It's taking effect. My watch actually just stopped. I don't know, for some reason it stopped like an hour ago. Thank God it's working. That was my smartwatch, my Fossil Generation 6 smartwatch. It just stopped in the middle. I was like, oh man, I have to buy it. I paid on the $350 for this watch. Got a special from Fossil. Sent it to America. I had to get it shipped here, brought here by somebody. So, maybe you could do that. You could gesture to them. So it is possible to have Asra. Hadar Amar Abaye went back from it. He says, "La milsi de Amri." What I said before doesn't make sense. These if you say they actually do need Asra, and Abaye found the way that you could have Hasra, or you give them Hasra b'tokdei dibor. If you say they really need a Hasra, it'll be chayav for Adam Zomim. If we don't give them Hasra, right? If they testify that a person's chayav misa, right, and we don't warn them, we don't give them misa. Mika midi de inu bo katil blo Hasra, inu bo Hasra. The whole basis of Adam Zomim is you do to them what they try to do to somebody else, and when they try to do somebody else, they didn't, right? They try to say that he died without warning him, right? They're trying to kill somebody else without warning him, and now why should they need a warning? So if this is true, if you say you don't need Hasra, then when you have a case where they're not going to give them the punishment kasher zoma, they try, like when they get malchus, they don't actually make the Edom zoma chalalim. You should need Hasra. Amar Kra mishpat echad yalacha mishpat hashav el kolchim says mishpat echad by Edom zomim. In most cases, by Edom zomim, you don't have to warn them. So also by being grushim and you also don't have to warn them. He says also you have to say by the case of chol b'chaver, when you injure your friend, the reason that you don't pay mamon mishum milkal alaki mehacha v'chin natzu anashim v'nikfu isha hara v'yatzu ladel. The pasuk says, if you're fighting with somebody and you end up hitting a woman who's pregnant and she has a miscarriage, Amar Lezer mitzvah shamisa hakasa medaber. We're talking about cases where a person would be chayiv misa. Right? If you actually end up killing the person or killing the woman, not just her fetus, right? So then you have to, according to the Rabbanah, they hold you're chayiv misa, you're chayiv execution for killing somebody, hereg, for killing somebody. The Gemara is talking about the case in the Torah is talking about where you intend to kill one person and you kill a woman who's pregnant. Right? So if you kill the woman, you get misa according to the Rabbanan. According to Rabbi, you only pay mamon. But according to the Rabbanan, you get misa. If you only cause a miscarriage, then you pay mamon. Hechi dami. So in what's the case? Idlo asra, if you didn't give them hasra, right? That if you kill the person, you're going to die. My mikdal. Why would you be killed? Al pshita asra, right? It must be talking about where they gave hasra. They said if you kill this person, you're going to die. Musol davar chamor, musol davar akal. Right? We have a general klal that if you give hasra for something chamor, like for that you do this to kill a person, you're chayav misa. So therefore, it serves also as a warning for the lav. The lav is you can't also injure somebody. You can't hit somebody, right? He's hitting somebody. He's boxing him. I don't know. He's hitting somebody. So it's also so malchus is presumably not as severe as killing, as execution. So therefore, that's the svara the Gemara assumes, right? If there's no tragedy, the woman doesn't die. I know she just caused a miscarriage, then you pay money. So you pay money, and obviously you do not get malchus over here. At this point, the Gemara is assuming over here that when you cause a miscarriage, right? So you pay money, and there's no malchus. Now, why is there no malchus over here, right? So you were musra, you were have a warning about the lav of hitting Yosef Lakoso. So at the end of the day, still, why he didn't explain why is it that what's a svara that you get when you pay for the kid, for the fetus dying, and you don't get malchus for hitting her. So the article says in footnote number 42, because obviously the Gemara is assuming Kedei Rishaso, like Rabbi Yochanan said, Kedei Rishaso, Mishum Rishach, you can't get both, so you only get one. But it's not clear. The Gemara is saying that's only Rabbi Yochanan's svara. We don't hold like Rabbi Yochanan. We hold like Ula. The simple is like Ula. The Gemara never asked why Rabbi Yochanan didn't say like Ula. Ula seems to be the main svara. So therefore, it seems, like I said, Ula seems to hold that by Misa, Malchus, and Mammon, it's not like Kim Lev Rav basically can't punish you for doing things. It's actually there is no Isser over here. There is Malchus and Mammon. There's only a Chi of Mammon. There's no Isser even on Malchus. That's the reason I explained before. I'm going to explain this morning with Ben Sion to show you how there's no problem of abortion at all. Even there's no warning in the Torah. There's no Isser in the Torah at all. Maskir Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi asked the following question: how do you make this assumption that if you're warned for something more severe, it's considered a warning for something less severe? Dimalo heavy. Maybe it's not. It's a little more heavy. Even if I want to say it is. How do you know that Misa, right, is considered more severe than Malchus? Still, Malchus Chomer. Maybe Malchus is more Chomer. Tav Lam Gilon Beis. Amar Rav Mali Nagudu L'Chanam Mishav Azariah. Palkulat Salmar. Rav makes a statement. Chanam Mishav Azariah. They were commanded to worship Avodah Zarah. And instead they threw themselves in the Kiv Shanaish, in the fiery furnace. They ended up dying. He says if they would have threatened them with torture, right, Malchus, so they would have done Avodah Zarah. They couldn't have withstood it. So you see, Malchus more Chomer. Rav Salam Reid Rav Ashi, Amri Rav Salam Reid Rav Ashi, Rav Ashi. There's a big difference. Torture is different than Malchus. Malchus, you know you're going to get 39 lashes. Sometimes you're not even fit to get 39 lashes. You know there's an end to it. Torture, that you don't know when it's going to end, so therefore it's much worse. That's worse than Misa. Umar says torture is worse than dying, but lashes are not so bad. Maybe money is more severe than lashes. Lashes, some people would do this. People cause themselves to suffer to save money, right? They'll just to save money. This guy Graham Stephen. This guy's a YouTuber. He's a rich guy. He makes $2-3 million a year on YouTube. He also is a big time investor. He's like 31 years old. He has a portfolio. He's worth like $20 million. Pretty good. 31 years old. Most of his income was on YouTube, and he talks about it's called Millennial Money. I don't know. That's his podcast. It was a show on CNBC about getting rich or something like that. Millennial Money, he was featured, and he was saying basically how 99% of his income he saves. He saves 90% of his income. He doesn't spend the money. He does not spend the money. People will really kill themselves. He spends much less money than me. He makes a lot more money than me. So it's kind of funny that his budgeting, he's out of control. He tries to save money. Buying he compares prices in supermarkets to get to the cheaper price. Hello, you're worth millions of dollars. You could afford to shop the more convenient at the convenience store, right? It's called a convenience store for a reason. Anyway, so the point is that sometimes people, for money, it's worth more to them than a little pain, making their life a little harder, right? You whip somebody, ask somebody, and you say, I'll give you $200 if I get to whip you 39 times. Most people will like take it. $200 is good money. Even Graham Stephen probably. Joking, I have no idea. Anyway, most people will take the money. Money is very dear to people. So maybe it is. Like, I question that, but maybe it is. So Maskil Rav Yaakov Minar Pokud. Rav Yaakov says, Hanich Rabbanan. This whole logic makes sense according to the Rabbanan. The Amri Nefesh Mamish. They say in the case of where you're trying to kill someone, you kill somebody, a woman, right? If you kill her, then you have to pay with your life. If you only cause a miscarriage, so then you pay money. The Rebbe, according to Rebbe, the Amar Mamon, he says nefesh nefesh doesn't mean that you get executed. If you kill if you intend to kill one person and kill somebody else, you don't actually get executed because it's sort of b'shogeg ma'ikal and meimar. You lost your proof in the pasuk, right? Ella Amar of Yaakov in our pasuk, because we're not talking about Misa over there. Ella Amar of Yaakov in our pasuk mishmei the Rava mahacha. Where does he learn it from? Yaakov vitalach b'chutz al mishanto v'nika hamaka. If he gets up, you wound someone, you injure somebody, and he gets up. He's in bed, he's lying in bed, he's able to get up and walk on his staff. And then you'll be absolved from killing. Is it even possible? Why does the Torah even have to say this? If he's getting up and getting out of bed, you didn't kill him, of course you're not going to be killed. Of course you're going to be absolved. The point of this pasuk is to tell you, put him in jail until we figure out if he'll die from these wounds or not. Until his condition stabilizes. And if he were to die, then you kill him. And if he doesn't die, then you pay monetarily. You have to pay for the time he was not able to work. And for his medical bills. What's the case talking about in the Torah? If you didn't give him hasra, right? That is, you can't hit somebody on my mikdal, or you can't kill somebody on my mikdal. Why did you kill him? Pshita asrube must be talking about. They warned them. Right? Being warned for killing somebody, the same thing as warrant for hitting somebody. If he doesn't die, you pay monetarily, but you don't get malchus. Maybe we don't say that. If there's a lomar heavy, even if you want to say it is considered a warning, maybe malchus is chamer. Rav said, they would have worshipped Avodah Zarah if they were beaten. There's a difference, right? Being tortured and giving a fixed set of malchus. Master of Mari has a different question. The Gemara says that it ends up having a good question, right? Maybe it doesn't mean that they warned him that if he kills the person, he's going to die. Maybe it's talking about if you kill him b'shogeg, right, then you're going to get gullus. If you kill him by accident, you're going to get gullus. So gullus is not necessarily more chomer than malchus. So therefore, we wouldn't say most of the chomer, most of the kal. If we're talking misa, yes, but here we're talking about gullus. So, and that's v'nika. He's absolved from going to gullus. Then he pays the medical bill. So we have no raya from that pasuk. It's a kasha. It's a little bit of a question. Do you have a raya from that or not? At least the first raya seems to be a good raya. At least according to the Rabbanan, we paskin like according to the Rabbanan that also you're chayiv. Even if you intend to kill one person, you kill somebody else, you're chayiv misa. Right, and if you don't kill the woman, you're chayav mamon and not malchus. Mamon and malchus, why not? Obviously, this seems to be an alternate explanation, right? Rabbi Yochanan had an explanation from Chovel b'Chavero and from Edom Zomim, Rabbi Yoshaya. But where is the raya for Ula, right? So these seemingly are the rayas for Ula, and Ula seemingly hold like. I'm going to talk more about this in Ben Sion. Let's continue. A different answer to our original question. We had a question. Our Mishnah seems to indicate that when it comes to malchus and mammon, right, by nara, when you rape a nara, right, you pay 50 silver coins. So our Mishnah seems to indicate that you pay the money, and the Mishnah in Malchus says you get malchus. Which one is it? Our Mishnah is Reb Meir. He holds that just like Edom Zomim and Charlie Mechayev Salamam, they get malchus from Mishalom. Here also, it says you pay, but you will get malchus also. And the Mishnah in Malchus is talking about you get malchus, but didn't mention the fact that you pay, or the Mishnah in Malchus is talking about a bogeres or something like that. So here, according to Reb Meir, it says you lokum Mishalom. That's our Mishnah over here. But if Reb Meir, I feel bito nine. Why does it only talk about cases of kares, like your sister or your wife's sister or your brother's wife, even your daughter, which is chiyav misa, right? Also, you should be chayav misa. You should be chayav. Maybe he holds there's a difference between them. That when it comes to malchus and mammon, those are equal. You get both of them. But when it comes to misa, the misa pater is the mammon. Below is this really true? Let's say that it talks about in Maseches Baba Kama. If you steal something discreetly, right, at night from someone, and you steal an animal, a shor or a seb, and you slaughter it. You chayav dalad v'hei. Not only you chayav kefil, you chayav twice. You chayav 4 and 5 times what you stole. It's a penalty. And let's say you slaughtered it on Shabbos. Or you slaughtered it, right? If you sell it or you slaughter it, you chayav 4 or 5. So let's say he slaughtered it on Shabbos, which is a malacha d'oraisa, right? It's a malacha on Shabbos. Or he slaughtered it lavos kolcham, which is avodah zarah. or ganav shar niskal v'tavcha, or you talk shar niskal, an animal was supposed to be stoned, right, because it gored a person or something like that, is supposed to be stoned v'tavcha, and you slaughter that. Misham d'shlomi arba v'chamisha. Divrei Meir. Meir says, especially in the first two cases, you're still chayiv misa, you're still chayiv mamon in that case, you're still chayiv the kefel and the arba v'chamisha, even though you're tavach on Shabbos, you're chayiv to be killed. Chal poshen humzeh, you're pater. So here Meir holds, you get misa and mamon also. Why didn't say bito in our Mishnah? Where's the hayit more? Allah, Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Yochanan, Amar Amar Yirmi, Amar Shubbi Lachish, Rabbi Avin, Rabbi Yelav, V'chol Chavrusim, Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Yivatovei Achei Acher. This case, Baba Kama is talking about where he didn't actually shech the animal, he stole the animal, but he sent a shliach to shech it on Shabbos. So who's chayiv misa? Who's chayiv for slaughtering on Shabbos? The shliach, right? Ein shliach devar aveira. He is chayiv. However, we're going to see that he is chayiv for the dalad behay, the person, the mishaleach, the person who stole it. But he's zechotev them is chayiv. How is it possible? Usually, ein shliach devar aveira. How could you be chayiv for appointing an agent to slaughter it? It says a special pasuk over here by Tvicha Mechira. Just like Mechira, when you sell to somebody else, it's someone else involved who buys it from you. Also, Tvicha could be accomplished if you send an agent to do the Tvicha for you. The Beir Shmuel Atana O L'Rabbos Shliach. It says the word O includes a Shliach. You can be chayav dalad hey, even if the Shliach slaughtered for you. The Beir Chizkiah Atana Tachas L'Rabbos Shliach. The Chizkiah says also Tachas. Another extra word, the rabbi is a shliach to include the shliach. Maskiv lamar zusha mika midi lilo avat ihu lo mechayiv about shliach mechayiv. How could it be? Just in logic, how could it be? If he did it, right, he wouldn't be mechayiv because he'd be chayiv for Shabbos, right? We're assuming the Meir really does hold, right? He does make the distinction that by misa and mammon, the misa negates the financial payment. You don't have to pay. If he would do it, he would be chal Shabbos. He wouldn't have to pay dalad v'hei. Now, if somebody else does it, he has to pay. It's not because he's not chayiv to pay the money. If he were to slaughter on Shabbos, so therefore he'd be chayiv skila for violating Shabbos or for avodah zara, and that would pater him for the money. Doesn't mean kimle b'derabbanan. This is where we see very clearly that he is chayiv. He is chayiv the mammon over here. Kimle b'derabbanan just means that Basin can't punish him in both things. It doesn't mean you can't take from his estate. You can't draw from his estate the money because he's chayiv to be executed, or he is executed. So therefore, you can't draw from the money. However, principally there is a chiyuv over here. Just Basin can't punish him two things. So when it comes to misa and mammon, that's the svara or kimle b'derabbanan. This is the first time really the Gemara uses kimle b'derabbanan. I think so. Kamle b'derabbanan means they punish him with the most severe of the ones, but it means principally he's chayiv to pay the mammon, and technically, I think the Kesubos Choshen says famously that if someone would be toe-faced the mammon, if someone would grab the money, the person who he was mazik, or the person that he stole it from, took the money, he wouldn't have to return it because technically the money belongs to him. Just he doesn't have to pay it. Basin doesn't have to force him to pay it. We'll have to talk more about that as we go forward. That's the conclusion of today's share. Stay tuned for Ian with Ben Sion. We're going to talk about abortion. What's the Torah perspective? You're not going to want to miss it. Coming up next.